as confusing as the title sounds, that real is not as real as you think it is, you first got to kind of really think about what we call reality. What we call reality is something that's been prescribed to us. That there's a number of people, there's a number of situations that, you know, people find themselves in, that we're acting a certain way or we're being a certain way because society says we should. What's interesting is how often that changes. And in technology, they call that a paradigm shift. In other words, what you thought was right is no longer right. What you thought was real is no longer real. In 1950, if somebody was seen walking down the street, talking to themselves, either into something or just walking down the street, they would pick them up and throw them in a mental ward because they're talking to themselves. Now we say somebody's using a Bluetooth. So, you know, if whether they're using a Bluetooth or not, or maybe they still are schizophrenic, but our perception of reality has changed that much. On the other hand, if you roll that back 150 years, the person would have been burned at the stake for talking to demons. Let alone if they heard him talk back. In our use of energy, there, you know, as it relates to stones, minerals, crystals, and gems, there's nothing electronic that can work or operate without the use of stones, minerals, crystals, and gems. Whether that be a watch, a light, or even you. And it's interesting to me that doctors frequently say that minerals won't do you any good, but if you look at the physician's desk reference book, almost every one of the medications made for human consumption have a base in the mineral world. Our energies are not as well understood today as they were 1,000 years ago. And so what we consider real seems to fluctuate. You can take, well, here's an exercise for you. Take your hands and rub them together. Okay? Now hold your hands apart and draw them back together slowly until you feel almost like a resistance. You could do this at home. Probably shouldn't do it at work, but you can do it at home, unless you work for me. That in and of itself is a sense of energy. Now, they discovered around the beginning of the Second World War something that they could use microwave to communicate across vast distances. I don't know who it was, but what I heard was that somebody took a chicken and put it on like a pitchfork and held it up in front of one of these satellite dishes, and that's how they figured out you could use microwave for cooking. And now we've got one in every one of our houses. And if somebody tried to say that, you know, after us using them for what? 70, 80, 90, for almost 50 years, that microwaves aren't safe, what would we say to that? Well, so again, that was, that might have been real in 1920, that microwaves aren't safe, but it's not real today. If getting back to cell phones, reality is oftentimes defined scientifically as those things that you can touch, taste, feel, see, or hear. Anybody here hear cellular waves? Not what's writing on them, the actual waves themselves. Maybe you need to go to that mental ward. Okay. There are elements that have been used since the dawn of time. The idea of using a pendulum, and most people know what that is. That's a device that looks a whole lot like this. Okay? That has a bob, a chain, and something on the end of it. But women have used something like that. They would take a sewing needle, and they would put a piece of thread on it, and they would hold her over a woman's stomach, and if it moved in the yes position, it was a boy. If it moved in a no position, it was a girl. But that's been done for literally thousands of years. They used pendulums in Egypt. But yet we have little or no understanding of it. So if you want to take a second and take the necklace that's off your neck, or a piece of string with a paper clip on the end of it, or something that looks like this, okay, take that and put it between your fingers like that so that there's no way you're controlling it. Put your other hand over your navel, close your eyes, and go show me yes. Well, for me today, moving away and towards my body is yes. Stop. Okay, you can move your hand and make something move. Can you move your hand and make something stop? No. And you can look at this video as many times as you like. I did not move my hand. Show me no. Okay, moving across my body is no. So then I stop it and say, is my name Tim? Well, what do you know? Today I'm not schizophrenic. And you can do the same thing with the necklace. Put that in your hand. Put your hand over your navel and go, show me yes. Stop. Show me no. Well, to me, today using this, the way the answer shows up is a little bit different. So it's not always the same. But what is the same is the energy behind it. In the show Star Wars, Luke Skywalker was stacking boulders with Yoda on his feet. Okay? And what Yoda was trying to teach him is how to make the material cooperate with him. Well, if you just did that exercise, that's exactly what you just did. So, Padawan, you can do a lot with energy and a lot with modalities. Hi there, kids. You can do energy work. There are a lot of people out there. In fact, one of our leading teachers here, Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, is very advanced when it comes to teaching Wei Chi Reiki. But there's a lot of other people who teach Yusui Reiki and other forms of Reiki around the planet. In fact, it's even used in hospitals. Doctors can't explain why it works. They just know their patients get better faster. Well, there are, on our website, on Facebook, there's a story in there about a healing that somebody was allowed me to participate in. Please go and read about that. In addition to that, we've got a class coming up on the end of July in the Portsmouth, New Hampshire area for those that are around the world and want to fly in. And I'm going to be teaching about the other powering you. It's going to be a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday intensive And whether you look at it as psychic development or whether you look at as learning the gifts of discernment, both of those things are going to be accomplished. And you have to understand that there are bits of information that we only barely understand. And getting back to energy again, there is energetic forces that aren't explained with our physical senses. You ever ask somebody why they love a person? Because they're so wonderful. Well, sure, but we can't explain emotional energy. We really have a hard time with spiritual energy, and we have a hard time with intellectual energy. All of those are things that you will also learn in the class that I'm going to be teaching. So the way that you find out about that is by calling our store, which is 603-379-6555. You can also find out through our Facebook page, which is Shaman's Dream.
They're watching it on there.
Okay, you're watching it on there. Okay, and the other one is that was nice. The other and is there another way to contact us?
They can come in to the store.
Come into the store. The cost of the workshop is $275, and you'll walk out with a textbook worth of information. Let's see. I'm going to be doing readings starting in the month of August in our new location. This has been fun, it's been real, but we've already outgrown it our first year. We've had so much good going on here that we're actually moving just a few doors down in Fox Run Mall. We're going to be starting a 25% off anything in the store except for the fine jewelry and the consignment items. But we've got a lot of things in here, and I just as soon see you carry them out rather than us move them, because we've got a lot to go in the new big store. Thank you very much.